Hello, my fellow preppers and patriots. What is up? It is Elaine here, and today I'm doing an interview with John Jacob Schmidt, the creator of the Radio Free Redoubt podcast. Would you like to tell us a little bit about yourself?
Yes. Thank you for having me on, Lane. It's a pleasure. Always great to talk to you. And yeah, I guess where would I start? I probably at the beginning of Radio Free Redoubt in 2011, just being frustrated with the direction that I see our country going. And the frustration of so many patriots out there, I really wanted to put something out there as a voice of encouragement and to give guidance, direction to where I think that, we should be taking, patriots should be considering, certain issues, certain actions that they can take to kind of prepare for those days ahead. And so I started Radio Free Redoubt as a podcast. Of course, since then we've grown. Now we're on terrestrial stations across the American Christian Network and KTW, an AM station out of Spokane, Washington. And we do a weekly podcast every Sunday evening on Radio Free Redoubt, talking about the issues that affect us as Christian patriots and prepper-minded folks that want to become self-reliant to be able to make it through and then rebuild afterwards for the challenges that we have coming ahead. I started out in the Army. I served with 3rd Special Forces Group and 5th Special Forces Group before that. And I was a communications guy. So that I got out of that for quite a while after I got out of the Army. And it came around full circle when we started AMRON, the American Redoubt Radio Operators Network, which is a nationwide network of mostly ham radio operators that regularly practice to stay connected and share information, to be able to receive and share information over the airwaves in case our conventional communications gets disrupted. And that was going on 5 years ago now for Radio Free Redoubt, and then shortly after that, AMRON. So it's been quite a journey, but we've grown a lot since then.
What states are located in the American Redoubt?
Well, the American Redoubt is a concept that was, I guess, first brought to light by an author named James Wesley Rawls. He's the author of, several books, but Patriots, a novel of the coming collapse. And he's also a former military intelligence officer, and he understands intelligence. I mean, the how to make sense of the information going on in the world, and how to apply it, down on the lowest level, the individual, the unit level, or the family level. He called for people to move to the American Redoubt states, and in his original article, he defined that as Idaho, Montana, Wyoming, and the eastern conservative portions of Washington and Oregon states. So everything east of the Cascades is in the American Redoubt.
What were you like in school?
Oh, well, I wasn't a very good student. I wasn't very good at academics, unfortunately, and I wish I could go back and change that because I was certainly capable of it, which is what my teachers always said. He has so much potential. He's so capable if he would just apply himself. But I had the wrong attitude. I thought, this does not apply to me and my life. This is for what I want to do with my life. This school thing is just getting in the way, and I'll never use this stuff anyway. And I was very wrong. And it also developed some, poor habits early on, that carried with me into my adulthood. And so I didn't learn the discipline that I needed to, to apply to those studies, which carried over, into my adult life, that made it more difficult for me to, apply those disciplines that I should have really gotten, early on in my life. So as far as, how was I in school as far as a student? I wasn't the greatest student. I didn't apply myself. I was involved in sports. I played football, and I pretty much got along with everybody. I didn't really fit into any one particular clique. I was a jock, but I hung out with the guys that were in the chess club, and the stoners, and pretty much everybody. I just fit in pretty much with anybody.
Do you have any big projects coming up?
Oh, big projects. Well, we have regular training on the airwaves with communications, disaster communications. So there's actually a pretty big project we're working on that is going to be a nationwide communications disaster grid down exercise that's going to be taking place in June of 2016. Then we do lots of smaller training exercises, throughout the year, but this will be one of the bigger ones. And in fact, a lot of the disaster preparedness government and private organizations are also going to be practicing on that same weekend based on a huge earthquake scenario along the Cascades in Oregon and Washington and Northern California. And incidentally, also Canadian government, military, and disaster services will be participating in that. So since there's going to be so many moving parts, it's going to be a great opportunity for us as communicators, radio operators, to tune in to try to gather as much information about the disaster and the scope and the effect of it that we can turn around and send that information to our local communities all across the country to let folks know, what's going on, where, how it might affect them, where to evacuate, and this type of thing. So that's going to be a big project, and we're working on that. But we're always working on, there's always something going on.
Okay, who made the icon for your podcast?
You're talking about the yellow oval with the Redoubt word in it?
Yes.
Okay, that actually was one that I created at the very beginning of Radio Free Redoubt, and it just stuck. I didn't know anybody who did graphic art design or anything like that, and I was actually in a Word document and just made an oval and typed in text, Redoubt. I played around with the font, and I put a background yellow, black, and yellow. It looks kind of cool together, and I made a little tower, out of some different like clip art that I had found. And I just pulled it all together, and I just wanted something just temporarily to try to come up with a logo until I could come up with one better later. And it's just stuck. It just became our logo. Although we do have some folks that are graphic artists that have proposed some things that we're going to be putting out to the listeners for them to vote on, and those look really cool too. They're black and red and white. And they actually kind of look like a castle, which is what a redoubt is. A redoubt is a defensible fallback position. It's a safe haven and a refuge. So, and in the medieval times, it looked, a lot like a castle, or a castle could be considered a redoubt. So this looks kind of like that. And so we're looking at different designs that really kind of at a glance, it says, it shows who we are and what we stand for, and we're working on that. But that's how that first one came about.
Okay, what advice would you give to an aspiring podcaster?
What advice would I give to an aspiring podcaster? Well, first of all, make sure you're doing it for the right reasons. It should be something that you're passionate about. Otherwise, you're going to lose interest in it really quickly. And also, to be successful at podcasting, people want you to be genuine. And when you pour your heart into something, it shows, and they appreciate that. They want to hear what you have to say. The other thing is you need to find an audience that you resonate with, and that's what you stick to. You might have to be consistent. If you are going to deal with, for example, classic car club, listeners talking about restoring classic cars, that's where you better stick to, and you better provide something that it's hard to find in other places, information that applies to them, that's something they can actually apply to their lives, and things that they can relate to. So if somebody's not into classic cars, they're not going to be interested in that. But if you start getting off course and start talking about other things besides building classic cars, maybe boats and sailing and golf and everything else, you're going to lose your original base. So you want to stay on task. And at Radio Free Redoubt, we talk about, things that are concerning to mostly Christian patriot preppers across the country that are concerned about what's going on in the country, and that's what they want to hear about. So you want to make sure your message is consistent, and you also have to make sure that you're consistently there. A lot of folks that will try to do a podcast, and they'll do a couple, one or two or three in a row, and then they get busy or life happens in some way or another, and it's been a month since they put one out. So then they put one out, and then it's another month before they put another one out. And so you'll lose your audience. They'll go elsewhere for the information that they're looking for. So consistency is a huge key.
Okay, is there anything that you would like to add that I have not included?
Well, I would say my hat's off to what you're doing, and you're a young patriot. You're the next generation of patriot, and so I would say that I would just encourage you to keep doing what you're doing, and others that are your age, because we're going to be passing the torch on to you guys, and you're going to have to pick this fight up for liberty, for freedom, for our American values. You're going to be running with it. So I just want to encourage you to keep going. Don't stop. Keep spreading the word among those that are the generation that you're in, because right now more than ever, the world is trying to strip them of their American heritage. And with the public school systems that are in place now, which are nothing more than indoctrination facilities, they're robbing you of your heritage, and they're telling you what it is to be an American, which is a lot of times opposite of what it means to be an American. But so many in your generation are falling for it. They're not American citizens anymore in their mind. They're global citizens, and that's about as un-American as you can get. So you keep putting the word out there and informing people. That's super important. So I guess besides the stuff that you did already ask, that would be my message to your listeners.
Okay, is there any way that people can help support Radio Free Redoubt?
Well, we always ask for support through prayer. That is the biggest one. We need protection, we need courage, we need wisdom, and we need discernment. We need to be able to tell the lies from the truth and have the courage to be able to speak that, even when people don't want us to. And so that's the biggest way that folks can support us. They can also support us by spreading the word and telling others about Radio Free Redoubt, because there's a lot of people that are discouraged out there that don't see a solution. They don't see any hope for our country where we're, what we're dealing with in our country. So that would be a great way to support Radio Free Redoubt, is just by spreading the word so more listeners are out there. And then finally, as we've grown, and we've grown so much, the costs have grown. Now that we're on commercial radio, on AM and FM stations, and growing all the time, there's other needs that we're not able to do because of the finances. So we're growing as much as we're able to within our means, but we really also could use financial help. And people can go to radiofreeredoubt.com and click on the banner that says, support or donate to Radio Free Redoubt in any amount, especially if it's consistent. We'd rather see, $5 a month than $50 a year, one time, because it helps us budget. So that'd be a really good way to help support us as well.
If there's not anything else you would like to add, then we should wrap it up.
I can't think of anything. I just thank you for what you're doing. Just keep doing it. You're doing a great job, and it's a pleasure and an honor to be on your podcast.
The one that I don't have, but I'll start one.
There you go.
Yeah, so thank you guys for watching or listening, and talk to you guys later.